Canada is the second largest country in the world, with lands home to many different terrains from the Canadian Rockies of the west to the prairies and shields of the east, with many rivers, lakes, streams, glaciers, and springs in between. In fact, Canada itself holds about 20% of the Earth's fresh water. That's only 3% of the Earth's fresh water. Most of it is frozen in the ice caps and glaciers. Canada has many glaciers. Humans need fresh water to survive. It's a basic need. But we also use it for many other purposes, like agricultural use, industrial use, household uses, and recreational and environmental activities. Canada's population only makes up for about 0.5% of the Earth's population. That means we don't have to stop and think about water shortages. On average, a Canadian will use 343 liters of water a day on household activities alone, like taking a bath, doing laundry, or washing the dishes. But water shortages is a global problem at the moment, with ever-growing population and climate change. The Canadian bottled water industry is an industry that bottles clean, fresh water straight out of lakes, streams, and springs and ships it to other countries. Canada's water export falls into the primary sector of our economic department because it is agricultural and comes straight from the streams, springs, lakes, or rivers and is put into a bottle. All of Canada exports water, but most of Canada's fresh water is found in the Great Lakes. Side note, Lake Superior alone could cover all of North America in a foot of water. The bottled water industry boom began in the early 1980s after the CBWA was established, and the industry has had significant growth since then. The industry has continued its rapid growth, with a recent slowdown in sales in 2008 and 2009, dropping 89.1%. Water exports did well in the 21st century because of a rapid growth in population mixed with the climate change, which led to many water shortages internationally and will perhaps even increase a greater demand for water exports in the years to come. Our water is bought by the US, Japan, and Taiwan, but only in small scales. We do not export in bulks, but in bottles containing a maximum of 20 liters. The increase in sales of bottled water has moved the export beyond the niche market and into the mainstream. It is a staple for many Canadians, but lots of Canadians dislike this. Water may be in abundancy to us now, but if we keep living the lives we do, polluting and destroying the water and environment around us, then water bankruptcy will be inevitable. It is estimated that by 2025, 2/3 of the world will be water poor. Water is being referred to as oil of the 21st century or blue gold in many countries today. This industry has had a huge success and a huge impact on the country. It has opened many jobs for Canadians and improved the economy greatly. But the increasing demand raising for water could result in our pristine lakes and rivers being decimated and pumped dry. Many questions like, is Canada even willing to share the water with the growing and thirsty world? Or can it even be done without upsetting the fragile ecosystem? And, if so, who's making a profit? And here's the biggest question. Is water a commodity? Or is it a human right? Well, 70% of Canadians believe water belongs to everyone and no one at the same time. Now, they also believe that complying with the world's demand and removing water from Canada on a large scale would completely devastate the ecosystem. Which it totally would, because common thought is that lakes and rivers will replenish themselves. Yes, they will, but not as fast as the amount of water that we would be taking from it. We are under a lot of pressure put on us by the US and the rest of the growing and thirsty world to start selling at a large scale. But that argument will just have to wait. The future looks pretty sketchy with this industry. Like the mining and forestry industries, the water industry should be regulated and watched carefully. If it is not regulated, we may run out of water. Well, yeah, that's an overstatement, but the ecosystem would collapse. This is a big deal in the world economy today, and we might get a good few more years out of this industry if we continue to sell on a small scale. I actually see this industry starting a future war, and I'm not a fan of it. But for the time being, the industry proved successful. It improves the economy greatly and opens jobs for lots of Canadians. Canada is the second largest country in the world and holds 20% of the world's fresh water. Humans need water to survive. Canadians use 343 liters a day. The water industry falls under the primary sector and has significant growth since 1980s. Most of Canada's water is found in the Great Lakes. Canada sells water on small scales, no more than 20 liters, to countries like Taiwan, Japan, and the USA. There have been many water shortages, and in the near future, 2/3 of the world is expected to be water poor. Helping to satisfy the demand for water and selling on a large scale would destroy the ecosystem. There are a lot of arguments between other countries about the water in the government today. Is water a human right or a commodity?